Hello, Ashley.
Hello, Shahab. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, this is exciting times. I know we're talking about an older release from GC Records, but a
Yeah.
very cool thing that is
hmm
coming up that I want everyone to know is that we have not one, but two GC Records acts playing Punk Rock Bowling 2025.
What is Punk Rock Bowling 2025?
Punk Rock Bowling. So Punk Rock Bowling initially, and I could be mucking this up because it's not my history. It was the guys from the band Youth Brigade and the guys from the band No Effects, and they kind of just wanted to go to Vegas, and they kind of just wanted to go to Vegas and bowl at Sam's Town, right? But then they figured, hey, why don't we throw? We're gonna have some friends there. Why don't we just play some shows? Play some shows, sell some merch, make some money. And then Punk Rock Bowling, fast forward, now it's over 20 years in. It's this huge festival. I mean, it's almost like a, Coachella, Life is Beautiful kind of situation. They have multiple stages. And then not only is there the main concert, which is where, the GC bands will be, on the main stage in the, main concert area. But after that closes, there are club shows and those sell
Oh,
out every year and you have to figure out which one you'd rather go to because you can't be in two places at once.
dang it.
Some people buy both tickets and they weasel their way into one and then go to the other once they've seen the band they like, but it's a really huge concert festival, multiple days. It's usually during Memorial Day weekend. I say usually because COVID, kind of mucked things up a little bit, but amazing, really, really amazing, and we are really stoked. The Rifleman from Las Vegas and Go Bold from Las Vegas will be playing, and we're stoked because it's a lot of international acts. Yet after all this time, in Vegas, that they are, you know, reaching out to the locals to play at the concert. I mean, it's just amazing. So, thanks, Punk Rock Bowling. Ding.
That is rad as heck.
Yeah. So that's a 2025 happening. Memorial Day weekend. Get your passes now. You know. I wish I had an
Yes.
echo thing. Like, let's go, Punk Rock Bowling.
Yes.
Yeah, Punk Rock
Yes.
Bowling. Yeah, I've always wanted to push that button, and for 2 seasons, I've always forgotten because we get into the music of it. Which today we are talking about dropping food on their heads is not enough. It's a mouthful, but it was carrying a message with it. It's a compilation album with over 30 tracks, and what we're going to do is we're going to play a couple of them. um what does the title mean, right? So generally, war torn countries, when it would be an act of war to go into those countries with humanitarian aid. Sometimes all you can do are these airdrops, and they have, um, first aid stuff, food, and essentially the title of this compilation album is, you know, doing that just isn't enough. And so the impetus for this compilation, now this compilation was released in May of 2002. Okay. So for those of you who are too young to know, and I mean, let's just face it, if you were old enough to remember 9/11, you remember 9/11. 9/11,
Yeah.
2001, um, it impacted the world. The Taliban orchestrated an attack on U.S. soil. And Hila, who is part owner of GC Records, was born in Kabul, Afghanistan. And her family got out when Russia invaded in the early 80s. But then when the Taliban took over and they took rights away from children and women, that didn't sit right. That didn't sit right with the global community, but more specifically the Afghan community, the Afghan diaspora. And so on 9/11/2001, when everyone was so enraged by this one day, this one act, Gila was like, yes, very sad, very horrible. But do you know what the Taliban has been doing to women? Not allowing them to go to school, not allowing them to walk in the streets unless a husband or brother is with them, not allowed in public without a full burqa on. I mean, years and years of this, and in a sense no one cared, and in a sense it escalated to 9/11 happening. So Gila was like, you know what, everyone is donating to, the first responders, everyone's donating to, which, as it should be, philanthropically, you donate to what matters most to you. And what mattered most to her was the people of Afghanistan. And so we partnered up with the Revolutionary Association of the Women of Afghanistan, which started in 1977. And their connection to the United States, where humanitarian money and aid would go through organization, a nonprofit called the Afghan Women's Mission, and they would get the money to RAWA, as it's called, the Revolutionary Association of the Women of Afghanistan. And in the end, with the money that we raised from this compilation, I'm proud to say, now I'm getting choked up here, they were able to open a hospital in Pakistan for refugees. It pains me to say that 20 some years later, that hospital is no longer. And Gila couldn't join us on this podcast, but she did want to say that, it's just interesting that we're kind of right back where we started. Taliban are in charge of Afghanistan again. We're doing food drops on Palestine. Humanity just is stagnating. There's no where's the humanitarian feeling? Where's the empathy, right? So we did some good. The acts that are on this album, amazing. The people who stepped up, absolutely fantastic. Some of the really 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 big ones: Youth Brigade, who started punk rock bowling, Bouncing Souls, Link 80, Chumbawamba, Litmus Green, Jello Biafra gave us a spoken word. I mean, the acts that are on here were people that I thought were amazing when I was in high school. And so the fact that they were like, yes, we're going to do this. And there's so many good songs on here. The Thumbs do an amazing song. Again, that Jack Killed Jill song, You Don't Own Me, is on here because they thought it was important enough to, we're not going to be able to record another song, but put this on there so that everyone who at least pays money for this compilation, for this fundraiser, they get to hear that song because it really matters. So we did hear that song on the Jack Killed Jill episode, so we're not going to listen to that. What we will listen to first is this really, really beautiful song by a Southern California band called Co-Ed. Female singer, kind of pop punky, nerdy. They had songs about X-Files, just really, really, really cool pop punky kind of band. But trivia, the drummer of Co-Ed is an Afghan American kid who lived and grew up in California. So here we go. This is Progress by Co-Ed.
That was Progress by Coed.
What'd you
And
think?
with that incredible diction, that poetry really hit hard, and was an incredible reflection on what both you and Gila have shared with us, that we're right back kind of where we started. One step forward, two steps back. We, you know, I we try and wash our hands of it. We feel like, oh, we fixed it, we're done. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
withdraw, we're done. We're
Yeah,
done.
and I feel
Done.
especially where they're going with that, and they're like, every time you, and as the you, it could be corporations, it could be the
Yeah.
government, it could be, Congress people, well, it's always been done this way. Well, we're doing this for progress. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
The
you know,
progress
hmm,
never really seems to finish, and that seems reflexive of almost every, and granted, every social movement has layers to it, and is never truly complete, and is always part of some like perpetual pendulum swing of quote unquote progress. Um, but there does seem to be, uh trying to think of the exact piece I'm thinking of, but it was kind of giving me, there's a Nina Simone song I'm thinking of,
mm,
from a poetic standpoint. Um, oh my lord, what is it? Where she's talking about essentially the progress, where she's asking for equal rights, and her ensemble has a chorus backing her up, saying too slow, as in the equal rights she's asking for progressing too
mm,
slow.
mm,
And then there's a second verse where they're talking about everything that her people are supposed to be doing, and then reflexive of the people that are telling her what she's
mm,
supposed to be doing, they're too slow. And so there's this back and forth of
yeah,
this kind of
amazing,
unfair
amazing
perception
connection.
on both sides. Um, and so there's the curious perception back and forth of what is the correct way to approach progress.
You
Um,
wascally wabbit.
you ask away rabbit as I try and make light of an incredibly tense subject. The Such incredibly like poignant poetry that has a really impressive energy behind it that I feel like really captures the spirit of it. Like an excellent piece.
So good. So good. We were so thankful they gave us that. Actually, we were so thankful all of these artists gave us stuff. In certain cases, because again, this was 2001, 2002, infancy of email. It was a lot of letter writing. Gila drove up to San Francisco to go to a show that Jello Biafra was playing, to go there in person and say, hey, I'm an Afghan, in asylum here. We're doing this compilation. Would you help us with this? She also went to LA and got Shepard Fairey to partner up on the record. And so not only were we, was it an official partnership with the Obey Giant logo on the back of the album, but included in the CD, which already had a very, very full
Oh,
explanation on what was going on, an entire letter Gila wrote about why she's doing this.
oh,
On top
cool.
of that, there was a little zine insert, and that's where the Obey Giant art went. And this had selected lyrics from all of the songs that I guess we felt pertained to it. Like I said, a bunch of I keep forgetting this new camera. Uh, Obey Giant art, and then an entire page in this zine of Taliban restrictions and mistreatment of women include, and there's 29 of them here. And then on the next page, it says, apart from the restrictions on women the Taliban has, and there's another list here. So it was very, uh, cool. to partner with Shepherd Ferry on this more information insert. Again, we were so thankful to everyone who gave us music or art or their time and talents to this. One of the songs, the next song that I want to play, I'm actually we're gonna cheat a little on this episode. I'm sorry. There's just so much. There's so many good songs. I mean, the Chumbawamba song, amazing. It's basically their little elbow jab at George W. I mean, it's friggin' amazing. But we're not gonna play that. You're gonna have to go listen to it on your own, gcrecords.bandcamp.com. But I do want to play the song by one of my favorite Swedish punk bands, Randy. Love them to death as a fan. Love them to death because they gave us this song for this comp, and then later they gave us a video for our Chemical X DVD zine. Amazing people with amazing politics, and they went to their label Epitaph and said, yes, give it to them, give them this song, right? But the song that precedes that, it's not quite an intro to that song. And in fact, it was Shahab original, in wherein I took, because the Afghan Women's Mission also gave us a CD of traditional resistance songs from Rawa. So these are women singing these chants for freedom. And so there's one track, I think there's a few of them that I kind of sprinkled in here, but this one that precedes the Randy track, I kind of did a remix of it. So it's these young women and these girls singing, that they want freedom, and I dropped some dirty break beats on top of it and made it into a kind of a little experimental, again, kind of just like an introduction, because the other ones that I sprinkled in, it was raw, just exactly what the song was when they gave it to me, kind of thing. This one I kind of doctored it a little bit, and then as soon as the song is done, it starts in with Randy. So the song that I did the remix of, it was called Rassam, which in Farsi means pledge. So this is the remix of Pledge, and then that goes into Karl Marx and History by the band Randy. So here we go.
face a tune. Confetti flying in the air. A lot of people are gathered here. We got placards, posters, and stickers too. And reggae music by Jabby U. We got red flags, black flags, and flags with stars. We got slogan pinning on our guitars. We speak about freedom. We speak about a war. We got a vision, baby, that we just can't ignore. Sure rains on our parade. The winds will change, our clouds will fade. A change will come eventually, says Karl Marx and history. We got vegetarian gumbo stew, the rockin' pneumonia, the punk rock flu. We got Ico, and Stagger Lee, and the jungle pond leaning against a tree. We got Emma Goldman and Chomsky too. We got things to say, we got stuff to do. We got all kind of freedom fighters gathered here. We got our friends in the corner over there drinking beer. Speak about the future. Speak about the past. Speak about a new world order, and we hope that we can get there fast. Sure rains on our parade. The winds will change, the clouds will fade. A change will come eventually, says Karl Marx and history. 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 Says Karl Marx and history.
Alrighty, so starting with
The pledge.
my handwriting was yes, pledge. Qassam, which I feel like I butchered.
You did
And
pretty good,
then
actually.
followed by Karl Marx by Randy. I really want to start with pledge because that one gave me feelings, and I feel like I could write a whole essay on how that thing started. The distortion on the beautiful singing by that little girl, absolutely terrifying. Which I feel like was probably what you were going for, because all I could see was that beautiful little girl singing that song, dying horribly via war, which was probably like what we were going for. That's probably the vibe.
And might have been
Been
what
what happened?
happened to that girl. Yeah.
So in a very new music kind of way, like I feel like I would have experienced that in a like new music, classical music concert, and would have been a fight or flight moment. That made me just like, even my body language was like, let me close in on myself. You got it. You nailed it.
Thank you.
The nightmare fuel was real in a very valuable way, in a very message communicating way.
It was also a little bit of what I was trying to do was a palate cleanser to get you to be ready for the clean, cute, Marxist Randy song. You know what I mean? Like that. That's also very heavy, but kind of clean and well polished and studio. You know. And so
interesting.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's you've been listening to 30 some tracks by now at this point in the compilation. Let's do a bit of a cleanse. Let's get some of this heavy distortion, and now you're ready for the epic Swedish. And it's so cute. He's like, we just, because they, you know, it's so cute. I love Randy.
Adorable. I didn't notice that adorable moment, and now I regret missing that adorable moment.
Go back and listen to it.
I will have to go listen to that because that was so cute. So I would love to hear more of your take on this, because what the message I got out of it with the cute like scene that they were setting up is how everyone's talking about like, we're fighting for freedom, get your beer, we're gathering together, we're celebrating all this stuff, which is all of everybody being like, yeah, freedom, we're sitting on our asses celebrating freedom, we're fighting for freedom, grab your beer, Jimmy, freedom, cook those hot dogs for freedom. Freedom.
I mean, maybe. I also think we have to think of
There's surely
the
more depth to it than that.
context, because they're not yet.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't. I mean, and which we've already established this. They're a Swedish band, so they
Right. So
didn't
that's
really
probably my
have
American lens.
exactly. So they didn't really have. They're not coming at it from that point, but it's almost like how can I put this? Like whether we're even though we're sitting here talking philosophy and government type and
Yeah.
all these different things, the way they're talking about, they said there's a lyric in there that says, and we're talking about the new world order and how we can get there fast, right?
But
And
the inherent
so
inaction?
but I think, well, no, I think it's
No?
more like doing even a little
Mm-hmm.
is doing a lot. That's what I take
Oh.
from it. In that,
Okay, so
like,
it's a
hey,
much
I
more
know,
positive
I
take.
know we're doing, we got some red balloons and we got some black balloons and we got some gumbo and we got someone reading Emma Goldman over here and we got someone drinking a beer over by the tree. But at least we aren't doing nothing. At least we have community. It's almost like one of those things where they're like, well, and I've heard patriotic military people say this, like, no one's coming to save you. The government isn't going to do it. Another country isn't going to do it. So it's up to you to, again, think local, act global. Like, be a part of the community. Get together with the people you care for and support them and all this stuff. So that's what I took from it all these years.
That is a much healthier perspective. I think I got a little too stuck in the depressed digital distortion, dead sweet Afghani girl.
Would an American band had written that song, recorded that song, written those lyrics, I would have thought, yes, totally, yeah. Because in fact, we had reviewed an ESL song that did that on their album, where they're like, "Oh, you guys are just sitting on your butt, complaining all day long." But I think in this instance, it's like, you know what? Because again, think of Sweden, right? Sweden, there's social democracy.
That's true.
There's no poverty. But yet there is still
generally
corruption. There is still wars being waged all over the world. And a little bit of that. They're kind of like, well, America. You know what I mean? And so so I think it's a hey. Even if it's lifting one little tray of food to get to this thing where everyone's talking about how we can move forward, that's doing something. That's how I took it.
That is a much healthier take, and I'm really glad that you brought that to my brain. That's a much healthier place than my little depressed opera singer brain. There's a reason that I sing a lot of depressed songs about death a lot. And I have to say, from an ethnomusicological perspective, I love that you brought in the resistance songs, and it was really fun to hear those in like both the variation and like the modified, distorted way, but even just to hear it in its raw form. Like what a beautiful voice in that young lady. Really gorgeous.
Yeah. So those, and there's a few more on there, but what I would like to end with, even though we normally only play 2 songs per episode, I did bring up ESL. They have been with the label since the beginning. They were one of the first to, because some of the tracks that are on here, like the Jack Hill Jill one, like the Chumbawamba one, like, hey, it's already recorded, it's already released elsewhere, but if this will help send the message out, or if this will help sell the CDs, here you go. Some of the bands actually went and recorded something new. East Arcadia gave us something new. ESL gave us something new. So we're going to close out the episode with a song from ESL, which kicks off the album. And it's a song called Cobble Waltz. And I think mainly because it starts with a 4 count, but then ESL, like they zoom past that. So I'm gonna, since I played the intro to Randy, I'm gonna play the intro to Cobble Waltz, and that'll do it for the episode. So thank you, listeners, for coming along in this ride. Sorry I got teary-eyed a couple times there, but
With every
You know?
good reason. And since we're closing out with this, I just want to say the work that you and everyone on this record did was incredible. And I know that it may not have wrapped up and maintained the way that you and Gila dreamed, but really everything that y'all achieved is incredible, regardless of how time has treated it. So be proud of the
Oh,
work that
thank
you
you.
did.
Thank you. Oh, and one last little bit of trivia tidbit here. So Gila was working for this company, and they shall remain unnamed, but horrible, horrible people. There was no such thing at the time, but you would say that they are evangelical Trumpsters, right? Kind of people, which they eventually became. Anyway, really horrible people. But they gave a $2,000 bonus when you were with the company for a year. It was like a loyalty bonus, so that people didn't just quit after whatever. And she hated it. She hated them. She hated going to work. It was the worst. Needed to pay bills. You had to, until you find something. She waited and waited and waited until she got that bonus, quit, and put out a resistance compilation album that raised money for Afghan women. So a win on so many different fronts. So this is when you put the CD in and you push play. This is what you heard: the intro leading right into Kabul Waltz by ESL.
ما در رهی خون رفتیم از بحر تو آزادی ساخت خواهیم سیراب از این نهال دموکراسی تا بسیدم بود خواهد عدالت شعار من که نشناسم در این ره نومیدی و مایوسی
Another sun sets while they all pray for